Peace. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you back to another edition of the Foul Playland. As always, I am the Foul Player of Brooklyn on my new show, Behold, or the new titled show, Behold. And I wanted to talk about, while I'm driving, a subject which is not talked about with much in the way of real conjecture, and that is what's happening in Iran. I mean, like, a lot of the information you're gonna get, um, mostly people that are haters of Donald Trump, um, speak on you speak on what their opinion is. Like, a lot of, and most people, like, even like conservatives, let's say, like, don't really speak about, like, the war in terms of we're winning the war necessarily. Like, they don't think that it's a good talking point for Donald Trump, and they will barely bring it up. A lot of people who are liberal diehards, they'll bring up the war at a constant. I mean, bring up the same talking points. And I think we're about like 2 months into the war in Iran, and I wanted to talk about it in a more broad view, if you will. Now that some time has elapsed, and one thing, and I mentioned this in my live stream yesterday, which I had an open panel. I mean, like, a lot of people most of the circles that I enter on YouTube, it's with people that really don't agree with me, and I set up the open panel in the hopes that people that don't agree with me, which is pretty much everybody that shows up to my show, or most of the audiences of the shows that I listen to, don't agree with me when it comes to politics. So I set up the open panels in hopes that, conversations could be had. But most times people don't want to have conversations. They try more to shut down conversations or ad hominem attacks, insults. But in terms of what's happening in the war in Iran, and I mentioned this yesterday, like I said, you have now that time has elapsed, like, how it's very rare, like, for you to hear, like, well, America bombed this spot, and all these people died because America, bad. I mean, much of, like, what we're getting in the way of, like, the press from or the media stuff that we're getting from Iran, I mean, it's a lot of nothing. I mean, they're not saying, oh, America's bad because they bombed, this apartment complex with a bunch of people. The one news clip that you had in terms of America doing something in that vein was in the early stages of this war, where supposedly a missile struck a girls' school or something to that vein, and like, a civilian set of casualties was incurred because of that. But even with that, I mean, it's not like these people have a impetus not to report these kind of things. I mean, most people that in the mainstream media hate Trump and are more than happy to, if there were instances of civilian casualties, they'd be more than happy to report on that, because they think that it gives Trump a black eye, i.e. the instance where the school got bombed. I mean, like, that was in our news cycle, I mean, for at least a week. It was the talking point that people would bring up, like, like, people that hate Trump would constantly bring that up, in an effort, like, to try to sully Trump's name. But since that, I mean, like, what have we gotten since then, in terms of mass civilian casualties, or casualties of any variety? Like, there are not many reports of the Iranian regime soldiers even getting wiped off the map. Um, and it's not like we're living in a time where we're not acclimated to how war gets reported in the media currently, because we've lived through at least 3 years of the war between Russia and Ukraine. And when there were strikes on an apartment building, we get that instantly. Iran, I mean, like, if there were civilian casualties that were being incurred, would be more than happy to put that out there to a more than willing American media that's more than willing to report on negative stories on Trump. But we're not getting much of any of that stuff. I mean, like, the statements that Trump has put out have been more along the lines of wanting to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed. And that seems to be being accomplished. I mean, let me read through some of these comments real quick. Hello, I'm from Egypt. Thank you, Judy, for coming through. Robbie wrote, I'm Hungarian. I don't know if you're saying Hungarian by that, but nevertheless, thank you for coming through. Do like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. But we're not getting any of these kind of reports. I mean, Trump's goal or objective, at least one that he puts out there, has been to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed as a negotiating tactic. And as of now, I mean, like, there's really no debate whether the Strait of Hormuz is closed. It's closed. I mean, I'm driving, so I gotta navigate as I do this live stream. But for what we know now, the Strait of Hormuz is closed, and it's closed not because of Iran's decision to keep it closed. It's closed because of the naval presence that's allocated to the region right now. I mean, like, I looked this morning on the news, and they showed all the naval vessels that were in the Strait of Hormuz, and they're not limited to like one little section. I mean, it's pretty much naval vessels. It had to be like 30 of them that were all along the entirety of the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, yes, like, there were reports like early on regarding drone strikes or missile strikes that were hitting these ships, but how often have you heard of that in the last like month? Even, like, you haven't been hearing any of that stuff. And again, like all the times that there's some sort of negative press that comes from that region, I mean, it's the biggest thing that you're hearing on the news, on the internet. Naval ship had to revert back home because the soldiers, like the sailors, clogged their own toilets as a protest to the war. I mean, like, you were hearing that rumor. Yet when you look at the news, I mean, this morning when they were talking about all the ships that are placed there, I mean, we got the strip on lock. I mean, if you want to get into more of the grit and gory of the war, I mean, when you don't, Trump has made the claims that the Iran has no navy as of right now. I mean, that hasn't been contended, so I'll take that to be true. I mean, he's actually put a tangible number of ships that were sunk from the Iranian navy. I think he put it at 159, which he mentioned was the entirety of their naval capacity, that is now in the ocean. He also mentioned the fact, and it's not just Trump, and I'm not saying that it's true because Trump is saying it. I'm saying it that these are things that have been put out by Trump in an American mainstream media apparatus that hates Trump, but they're not even contesting the notion that Trump is putting out there. Like, when it comes to the statistics of the war that's taking place, so-called. I mean, it's not really a war. It's pretty much, dominance that's happening from America in the Ukraine. I mean, in Iran currently. But there's also so I mean, like right now, the situation, if you get to the grim and gory of it, yes, like the Iranians are limited to striking oil tankers if they get a chance to do it. They are limited to setting down mines. And again, oil tankers are civilian vessels. I mean, like, so that's not the actions of a military. That stuff shouldn't be allowed, like by the any military. Like those things are not normally allowed. But Iran's military is limited to doing that. And you'll have some American morons that'll cheer stuff like that on. Iran should have a nuclear missile because as a deterrent to America. Like, and these are people that live in America that'll say shit like that because they're morons. But you also have Iran's other capability that they talk about now, which is the use of drones. And again, I mean, like, even that has been stymied, and the evidence of that is that you're not hearing reports of a drone striking a naval vessel anytime, this past like month. I mean, if it's happened in a very limited capacity, but the logistics of things as it's playing out right now, I mean, the American Air Force is flying Warthogs, which are heavy duty planes, and are more like known for like their ability to have like guns, like regular plain guns on those planes that could shoot, I think 400 rounds per minute, or probably more than that, and are shooting down a lot of drones. I mean, and these are planes that are not like high flying, bomber type planes. These are, low to the ground with the ability to shoot a drone type of vessel. Now, if Iran was giving America any sort of a fight, planes like the Warthog wouldn't be able to be flying over their airspace. But such is the situation as it currently stands. But if you're not getting the tone of my meaning, I'll put it plainly. America is dominating this war, but they're not being assholes about it. I mean, like, they're not like, hitting targets recklessly. They're not, looking to just straight up kill an Iranian population just because their leaders are holding out and not trying to negotiate with America. You have a president that he saber rattles a lot, but he's not being reckless, and indiscriminate in terms of trying to kill people just because he's not getting an immediate result from a very hard-headed set of Iranian leadership that are more, heretics or zealots in their negotiation with America. I mean, they're just trying to not come to the negotiating table just out of principle. And I mean, how long could they do that for? I mean, you have problems there with inflation because of this whole situation. They're not able to sell oil. Their oil reserves, or their capability of holding oil, is already had problems before this war went down. And now that they don't have the capability of moving the oil that they already drilled for, their capabilities to drill, to store oil might be permanently damaged if they don't come to the table soon. And that's also killing their economy, which, I mean, their economy was already in shambles. And this holding out in trying to stick to their guns in terms of enriching uranium, which Trump is saying that he's not going to allow them to enrich uranium so that they could make a nuclear weapon in the future. I mean, that's been his sticking point. And they're willing to, kibosh their own economy, kibosh their own capabilities of being able to drill for oil and store oil, which is a primary driver in their economy, are being, probably irreparably damaged because of the hardheads that are running Iran currently. I mean, and it could be that Trump, I mean, like from the onset, he's always stated that he wanted the Iranian people to, they themselves, cause an uprise and remove the leadership that is currently in place. And, that would, at this stage, would probably be the best solution. I mean, most Iranians you talk to, most Persians, I mean, as they call themselves in America, they hate the Iranian regime that runs that country. I mean, Iran was a very westernized country, even as late as the late 70s. And, with their policy as the ruling powers of Iran is, heavily based on debt to America. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure, I mean, I don't want that, being that I live in America, but I'm pretty sure a lot of the people, the population of Iran, living in Iran, knows it's not beneficial for the leaders of that country to have that stance of being combative with the largest superpower in the world. So again, I mean, like, when the Iran war set off, I mean, my stance is that I'm always against war. And when it seemed as if the war was popping off because we were trying to assist another nation in the Middle East, which has always had a hard-on for Iran, I mean, I wasn't too happy about that. I mean, I don't vote, but I didn't want Trump to lose this last election or the election in 2020. In 2016, I really didn't care. I mean, I probably didn't want Trump to win. But I was not tuned into domestic politics at that stage because I had personal stuff going on. But when this war popped off, like I said, I mean, I wasn't too happy about it. But honestly, I wasn't sad about the fact that the Iranian regime was taken out, because I know what time they're on. I know that they're not that they're anti-American existence. But any like sort of drawback that I had when the war set off has been largely dissipating, or like not having a negative effect on me as time goes on. And again, we gotta remember, for anybody who's in the Trump base or who may be turned off by all this, I mean, ultimately, I mean, looking back at the 2024 election, and when the decision came late 2024, 2025, Your choices were either not vote, which I don't vote, so I have no real skin in the game in that effect, or vote for brain dead Biden and then his late replacement Kamala Harris, who's also brain dead, or vote for Trump. Now, like in this Trump administration, am I happy that a lot of the things that I wanted to be accomplished haven't got accomplished? No. I mean, my biggest complaint is that I want more deportations to happen fast, like instantly. I mean, immigrant communities affect the already so-called minorities that are living in America, most of all the so-called black people, and anything that affects that community could affect my community, which I consider my community anyway. But you know, the fact that a lot of these immigrants that came under the wide open Joe Biden policy, border policy, haven't been deported at a rate in which I find acceptable, doesn't make me think like, well, I should have, if I did vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Not one bit. Doesn't stop me from thinking, well, like maybe the liberals do have a point, because Trump bad, but like because this war set off, and honestly, this war, it also puts the conversations of the fact that we don't need gas or fuel. It's something that we could do without, which is basically the stance of many liberal morons throughout the world, but mostly in Europe, which is and England especially, which has taken the stance of we're trying to starve ourselves from fossil fuels, and we're subscribing to, whether it's beneficial in the short term or long term, we're going to subscribe to green energy by force. I mean, which is something that could only lead to, the rationing of energy, which I don't want rationing of energy. The only way they could ration energy is to make it more expensive and to be able to limit your use of energy. And I don't want that. I don't want that under any circumstances. But, the liberal policy of, humans' existence are causing the world to heat up, and heat up world bad. It's very it's not realistic, and it doesn't help life for America and humans that are already in the world. I'm pretty sure, like, if you left it to Europeans even that aren't censored, if you ask them, whether you want access to cheap gas, most of them would say, yeah. I mean, like, most of them don't want to get around on bikes. Most of them don't want to be sequestered to living within 2 square miles and not being able to go anywhere because gas bad. A lot of them would probably want to be able to jump in a car and drive to faraway places, and for that not to be a life and death monetary decision like it is in Europe right now. And again, I mean, like, the Strait of Hormuz is where probably all of the gas that goes into Europe goes to that strait. And if they don't have access to that gas, I mean, and it's corroding the life in Europe as we speak because they don't have access to gas, then they makes a good case that we actually do need fossil fuels. Like, the whole hypocrisy of subscribing to the green movement, even at your own peril, is a joke. I'm almost home now, and The algorithm is hating on me as always. But I'm gonna cut it off now. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. I may come through and do another live stream this evening if StreamYard is so gracious and grants me another hour for free because I'm not gonna pay. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do help me grow this channel. Like, share, subscribe. With that, I am Sir File Player of Brooklyn. On my new venture, Behold. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.